Hello, you amazing friends. This is your pal Edwards here and Steph Gobraiel. How are you today, Steph Gobraiel?
I'm good. How are you, Ed?
Well, I'm doing really well. I'm actually up to 12,000 of 20,000 steps. So you can see me on an oval trying to get my steps up as best as I can. And we've got a good 5G tower over there. So I shouldn't lose signal, touch wood.
Fingers crossed. Touch wood. Yep.
Yeah. And how are you, amazing Steph? What cool stuff have you been up to?
Yeah, lots been happening. I've just got my shop page up on my website, which I'll be publishing tomorrow, which I'm quite
Ooh.
excited about. So I've been, quietly working on the background with the designer on that. So I'm very excited to be launching that tomorrow morning. And just business as usual and, life happening at the same time. The juggle is real, Ed. So
Oh, but the struggle may be real, but so is your determination, resilience, and winning, Steph.
the juggle, Ed, not struggle, the
Oh,
juggle.
I thought you said
Yes.
struggle. That's why I'm like, that
No.
sounded. So I thought that's not you. That's
No,
I thought that was yeah. That's why so I apologize. So I thought that was out of character, but it was my shitty hearing that was the problem
it's
there.
okay.
So maybe I need to get my ears checked, perhaps.
No, that's fine. All make mistakes.
Yeah, Steph, we're talking, and if you just come in, like, share, comment, great to have you with us. Connect with Steph and myself on wherever you find us, Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, Steph, we were talking before about today's live stream. We were talking about planning, chaos, resilience, and when our best plans go to heck and big stuff comes up. Tell us everything about what happened to you lately and your thoughts on this amazing topic.
Sure. So, I think you and I harp on a lot about planning in business, Ed. And, I think people can take it and they can either, roll their eyes at us or they can go, yeah, I do enough planning. But let me tell you what happened
Yeah.
last week. I got a call last week that my dad was taken to emergency. And as you do, you drop everything and you go,
Yeah.
right? And, and,
Yeah.
and it's
Sorry to
part of
hear.
life. It's life,
Yeah.
right? And he was in
It is.
hospital all week and it's not like, I can just be home working away, doing my posts and all that sort of thing. So this is why planning comes into place. This is where planning comes in handy because I had my posts or my bread and butter posts, which I say 3 posts a week, already scheduled and ready to go. So I didn't need to stress that I had nothing ready to go on my socials, as an example.
Mm.
So I think it's really important that by planning, no matter what life throws at you, you're still in a position to, go and, tend to whatever's happening in your life as well. So the wheels in business are still turning.
Yeah, I agree with you because, again, stuff happens to all of us, right? And again, glad your dad's pulling through and very sorry to hear about what happened. Maximum love to you and your dad on that one. And yeah, I completely agree with you because one of the key things that always impresses me is that if you're got great structure in your business and you're well planned, in a way, you've got nothing to worry about. Well, you do because you know what you've missed, you know what you got to catch up on, and also too, you had a lot of stuff in advance. And it's interesting actually because you and I are planning buffs, right? That's a fair comment,
Yeah.
right? You and I are right in planning. There are some people out there that aren't, and they think they think we're dumbasses actually, like, and they won't say it to your face like, "Hi Ed, I think you're a dumbass for planning," but you know through their behaviour they're not into planning. I'm asking negative questions, like negative questions. Why do
Yeah.
so many people? Why aren't they into planning? Why are so many people dark on planning? Do you think, Steph?
They've they've maybe never had to do it before, Ed,
Yeah,
where, 15 years, of my corporate roles were all about
yeah,
planning and all about
yeah,
being ahead of general managers. I didn't have a choice. So if you don't have that skill set, which it really comes from
yeah.
habits that we need to create, right? If we don't have this skill set and by building those habits in order to know how to plan, you're not going to know how to do it or you don't want to do it. See, this is a different, sort of thing. If you don't want to do it,
Oh, I
that's
think people
that's
don't
a
want to do it.
choice.
I think yeah, I don't think it's a skill thing, right? So
Mhm.
the viewpoint I'm taking is I don't think it's a skill thing. Like in terms of it's pretty straightforward how to plan. Just think about what you're going to do the next day. There you go. You're now a planning expert. It's not that hard, right? I
Yeah.
think people don't want to plan because sometimes when I bring it up, they're not happy about it. They see planning as something that takes away their freedom or restricts them. And again, without sounding too much like Steph Gobraiel, I'm the opposite. I think planning gives you freedom. I think the viewpoint that planning if you plan, you're going to get boring. It takes away your freedom. Whereas
Yep.
I think planning gives you freedom. What's your take on that one, Steph?
Oh, it absolutely does. It gave me the opportunity to drop everything and go to the hospital for 4 or 5 days straight in a row
Wow.
without having
Yeah.
to worry about what am I going to post today or what am I going to do. So, which brings me to another point, Ed. I think if you're serious, and we're probably going to get like, I don't know, maybe some hate mail about this, but if you're serious about your business, you will plan. You will do some element of planning.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look good if one day throughout, because you've got to remember we leave a digital footprint as well,
Oh,
Ed,
totally.
especially with our socials, right? So if we're not consistently posting and people are going to see that, that's going to help them make their decision as to
Mm,
whether they want to work with you as well.
mm,
So it's a much bigger picture than just planning. Planning's only one piece of the picture. So if
mm,
you want people to work with you, they need to see that you're taking what you're doing
mm.
seriously. Otherwise, they're not going to want to work with you. I
Oh,
wouldn't want to work with someone that's, like up and down, up and down, up. No.
oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's it. And that's to me one of the biggest things that holds a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs and business owners back, as we love entrepreneurs and business owners, is lack of planning and being really inconsistent with it. This is the thing I say to everyone, and I know we agree on this one. Now, I don't write any elaborate plans. In fact, my planning is pretty much I just sit there and think 5 minutes about the next day and the next month, right? Yeah, okay, yes, we plan our events date-wise ahead, but in terms of actual
Yeah.
business, I don't
Yeah.
spend much time planning. I'm already thinking, hang on, I got to do this next, I got to do this tomorrow, this next week, and I want to try and achieve this in the next month. And it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. 5 minutes does not take long, right? Stating the obvious. It
Yeah.
doesn't take long just to sit there and ponder what you need to do in the next few days. And I find a lot of people are more driven by chaos, which is very sad. They wake up going, oh my God, what am I going to do today? And I think it's such a terror. I've lived my life like that before. It sucks. I think it's such a terrible way to live your life, just waking up, letting the forces of chaos tell you what to do. What do you think on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you an example, Ed. Yesterday, was it yesterday? One day this week. Where are we?
Yeah.
We're at Thursday? Yes, we're at Thursday. So
Thursday.
in the odd.
Thursday.
So one day of this week, I didn't write down what I wanted to achieve in that day. I didn't do my planning. Okay. And it happens, right? It happens to
That's
all
to
of
me.
us. Exactly. But you know
Yeah.
what? That day, Ed, I was so all over the shop. I tried to do it in the
Yeah.
morning, but it just set that tone for the
Yeah.
day that I wasn't going to get through everything I wanted to get through. And it was very disjointed. So that alone sort of speaks volumes. If you're working in a disjointed way, then I think you know, that's yourself telling you that you need to do some planning. Now, every business is different, Ed, right? Now, you spoke about, planning and you do it for 5 minutes and all that sort of thing. But every business is different. However, you do need an element of planning in there at least twice a week, right? At least bare minimum twice a week.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And it's funny that because I'll give you an example. I'm flying to Melbourne tomorrow to run our meetup, which I'm very excited about. Our Melbourne meetup at Pullman. And all I'm going to do tomorrow is when I'm on the plane. So the plane flight's about 1 hour and 15. And usually I don't have internet, right? Usually, sometimes it depends on the flight, right? But let's say I don't have internet. I'll just sit there taking photos and I'll just sit there and think about business and planning. I'll actually sit there. If anything, I actually like it when there is no internet because it actually stops me playing on LinkedIn and forces me to actually start thinking
Switch
critically
off.
about my life and my business, right?
Yeah.
And I just
Yes.
sit there and ponder. I just sit there, take some photos of the clouds and all that stuff, but I just sit there and really ponder my next move. And that's to me one of the key points I want to make to anyone listening. When it comes to planning, no one said you had to sit there and hire a boardroom at the Novotel and spend 8 days with a bunch of strategists drawing stuff. No one said that, right? Nobody said that, albeit we strongly recommend the Novotel. But the thing is that I just say to anyone, just sit there and think. Just sit there,
Mm.
turn off your phone for 5 minutes and think about what you're going to do tomorrow. What's your take on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a choice that you have to make in order to, to do that. Now, as you said, Ed, it doesn't have to be, 8 days in a boardroom, somewhere, schmick or whatever it might be,
Yeah.
but it is important to do some planning for your business. Otherwise, you're going to always stay behind the eight ball, right? We want to get ahead of the curve. So then
Yes.
if life does throw something at you, you're still
Which it does
going
all
in
the
business.
time. Which
Exactly,
it
and that
which it
way
does
that
all the time.
absolutely, absolutely, and that means you can still keep going with whatever you need to tend to while your business is still, running, like a well-oiled machine, essentially. Now, did I have to communicate to clients that, my dad was in hospital and there's going to be a bit of a, shuffle around with my hours and stuff? Absolutely. But that's what you do, right? That's all part of your planning. Like who needs to know, who's going to be affected by this? How can I be still
Yeah.
working while, trying to listen to what the doctors are saying in a hospital because my dad is near death now. Like there's so much you need to think about. And sometimes people need to learn the hard way, right? So until
Yeah.
something happens to them and then they find, oh no, like I'm behind in my business or I'm behind with my clients or whatever it is, that's sometimes the turning point that business owners need to go through in order to understand they need to be doing some planning for their business.
I'm with you. And to me, the thing that's incredible about phones these days, and I find this amazing, is the phone, right? It is so, like, basically, not basically, a phone today, most people's phones in their pockets are more powerful than desktop computers 5 to 10 years ago, right? And it's
Absolutely.
interesting, that one, actually, because this phone that I'm using, my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, right? I'm doing a live
Yeah.
stream on it. Like, so 6 months ago, I used to be at home on my PC doing this. Now I can literally wander down the street, and it's actually better on my phone than it is on my PC. And this is a big thing I say to a lot of people. You don't have to be chained to your PC at home to post. You could just up to plan, right? You can just sit there and think about the future. And one exercise I love proposing to everyone, I do this all the time, is at night time, 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I just like to think, what am I going to do tomorrow? Simple as that. What am I going to do tomorrow? What do I need to focus on? And it's just simple as that. And it'll just be, okay, I better call XYZ. I better do this. I better do that. Now, I was going to ask you, Steph, what are some of the key things we should be planning for carefully in our business? You already mentioned like posting, right? It's a great idea to have an idea of what to post the next day on LinkedIn. It's a great idea of knowing who you should call on the phone the next day, like be it clients or leads or whatever. What are some
Mhm.
other things you think we need to plan for and think about?
Well, and this is the thing, Ed, right? When you're doing your planning a little bit like in advance, like I'm talking like a month in advance, okay, you should already know what you're going to be working on that day or that week for your business, right? And
Mm.
that's the direction it gives you when you even plan 1 month out. Right. But
Yes.
if we're talking to people that don't plan, okay, then I would look at your current week and your next week and understand what you want to achieve and what meetings you have on and what outcomes do you need to get out of it before you can add anything on top to your plate. Does that make sense?
Oh, brilliant. I got to say, I love where you're going. And I just want to say that to everyone as well. My big advice to everyone is start spending 5 minutes a day. Write something or not. You can be sitting on a park bench or on a plane or at home, but think about what you're going to do the next day. And my biggest thing I've been saying to a lot of people, and this is more sales advice here, of course, is who are you going to call the next day? Like, to me, a big part of planning is who are you going to call and reach out to yesterday? Are you going to call up some clients tomorrow? Are you going to ring up some leads? Are you going to follow up on some old customers that you know? For example, I got this old customer, Ryan, great guy, Max, right? He basically spends about 4 or 5 grand with us every year. And every time I call him up, he throws money at me, right? And it's awesome, right? So
Yep.
I think it's really well said. And I think you're in the zone. I think here to planning. And I was going to say as well, Steph, I've noticed that you've renamed yourself to Business Mentor. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head before we came on this live, Ed, that I'm more of a business manager and mentor.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to change it back to business manager and mentor because there is an element of both in what
Yeah.
I do. But I will add, Ed, to what you just said about the planning. What I
Yes.
do is I've made it a habit that before I finish up for the day, I write down 3 to 6 things that I want to
Mm.
do, I want to achieve the next day. And that may include meetings. Like today, I had 3 meetings. So that takes a
Oh,
chunk of your day,
oh,
right?
big day.
So, exactly. So
After two,
that
after 2 meetings, I'm messed up. There you go.
and this is part of it, right? So I've made this
Yeah.
habit where I look at my diary for tomorrow and understand what's going on and write down 3 to 6 things, and then things will come to me in the afternoon that I still need
Mm.
to add to that list, which is fine. So when I'm back, I'll add it to the list, and then you just got to assess whether it's you can achieve it, right? And that's the
Oh,
point, to make an achievable list.
oh, you're in the zone, Steph. There you go. That's why we all love you and love your work. And I just want to say to all our fans, like, share, comment, get this out there. Connect with Steph and I. Reach out to us anytime. Steph, we've crossed the 15-minute mark. I just love to hear some closing thoughts from you, and we'll finish up on your final smart words.
As I said, I think even if before you finish up for the day, you take a couple of minutes, not even 5 minutes, Ed, see what's on for the next day.
3 minutes. You've taught.
Three
Okay, I'll get you.
minutes.
Taught me down to 3 minutes. There you go. It's like we're
Write
gambling. It's like we're bartering. 1 minute. Then I say
a
3 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay,
two
done.
and a
two
half
minutes
minutes.
done.
That's all it
Yeah.
takes. Put a timer on. Put anything on that you need to. Even ask Google to set a timer. I do that. So set a timer for 2.5 minutes. Write 3 to 6 things that you want to achieve, and notice how you feel when you achieve those 3 to 6 things the next day. You'll feel
And
amazing because you actually achieved it, right?
all I can say is absolutely brilliant. Steph, we love you. And if you are watching, smash that like, share, and comment. Thank you for all you do for us, Steph. We appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you, Ed. Great speaking with you as always.
Stay awesome, friends. Keep winning.